Hey, welcome back to my crafty hen house. My name is Elaine. Today I brought you back to the garden. I'm going to show you where we stand with the planting of all my seedlings. As you can see, my soil is pretty much all the way down. So let me take you in the garden. I'm real happy with where we've come so far with the garden. We have 3 of the 4x4 beds. This first bed, we have red and white onions that I bought from Sets. I have 3 plantings of beefsteak tomatoes, and they're double plants. Then I have a better bush that I purchased already growing from Home Depot. These are my huckleberries. I have a lot of other huckleberries in the hen house that are sprouted. This is another plant that I bought from Home Depot, and that is a Bush Early Girl tomato plant. These are my compares that I started from seeds that I bought when they were organic from the produce stand. And then if you remember, right in this area, I had the 3 beds. I had one along this part, another one here, and then another one that came out that had my basil. And then this one here had my notapinas. Well, I took a really deep shovel and dug them up, and I was able to plant them in this planter and utilize that. And as you can see, I've got more growing. They're doing really well. They were very hardy when I moved them, so I was lucky enough that they survived. Then these are some more of the onion sets. Back here, that is all marigolds. I took all my marigold seeds and I broadcast them around, and as you can see, they're starting to come up here. But I broadcast them over this entire pot, so that should be really, really beautiful this summer, having marigolds in there. Of course, that is my garlic. I'm waiting for that garlic shoot to die off, then I know that I can harvest the garlic and see how well it did. Then this is my green stalk. I took my green stalk completely apart and I changed out all the soil to new soil, and these are the calendula flowers that I was growing inside the hen house, and I transplanted them out, as well as the grouping of basil. I took one out of each grouping and planted them in here. This was already growing. I left that alone. There's a couple other things that are still growing that were in here, parsley and lemongrass. And then that is a few of my little basils that I transplanted there. I'm gonna leave these little pockets empty, and I'm gonna put strawberries in there and see how they do. And I'm going to start them by seed. Over in this little planter, these are the yellow pear tomatoes. And then up here, I have my Lasaya peppers, and I have 1 bell pepper. I made the mistake of leaving them out here, and I didn't think any critters would bother them, but they went in on this side and chopped off all of my pepper plants. So I had made these cages previously for my blueberry bushes when they first started out, and so I just brought them over and set them over the top, and hopefully I'll transplant some more seedlings in that section. This is my basil plant. I transplanted it from the planter that used to be along this fence line here, and it survived. It did really well. I wanted just to see if it would. Over here in these 3 little pots, I forgot to mention I had bought peonies, and I'm hoping that they grow. I may have held them out a little too long, and they got dried out, so we'll see. This is Italian basil that I bought as a plant, and of course my spearmint that I transplanted out of a smaller pot that used to sit right here next to the big planter. And then this is empty. I think I'm going to put my sweet potatoes in there when they grow up. So far that's my little garden, and I'm really, really happy with it. I think everything will grow up beautifully. I did purchase a screen netting that my husband and I are going to build some posts here on this side, and then over here at the end, and one down here in the middle. And you take some bolts and put them on the rails, and you can put sunscreening over top of the garden. It gets excruciatingly hot down here, and the sun just will beat on these plants. But so far I'm really, really pleased with how far we've come. So that's how far we've come with the garden, and I'm really excited about it. I think we did really good with getting our plants in the soil. We worked really hard getting these boxes built and all this excess soil put in the boxes. My transplants everything did really good except for the critters eating my peppers, but that's okay. Lesson learned. I have a lot of those little cages that I built. Let me show you really quickly how I built those in case you're interested. So this is wiring underneath here. It's the metal wiring with the little squares. I guess these are 3x2 metal squares. And what I did is I cut the piece of metal fencing and I wrapped it around itself and then connected it with tie wraps. And then I went around it again with this plastic fencing, and I also put a piece on the top of it, and I just used the little tie wraps to hold the top down. They're really light and really durable, and as well as you can bend them to go into any shape if you have a rectangle or a square box. They also fit nicely right inside of these round planters if you needed to put them on a planter. They're real nice. But again, it's just the metal fencing. It's I guess you would call these the 2x3 square metal fencing. And I wrapped it around itself, tied wrapped it, and then I used the plastic, little plastic fencing over top of it. And I have not had any problems with critters lifting it or bothering it, chewing through it. So I was really successful with it in the other planter. So I just wanted to share with you how successful we are in this little garden, and we got everything from the hen house into the planters, and now we just wait and let things grow. Protect your plants. If you feel that you got any little critters, we have a lot of rabbits and squirrels, and it's mating season with these squirrels down here, so they're really building up their nest and getting into all of my crops. So I just want to say thank you again for joining me, and until next time, God bless. Happy gardening.